Okay, it's 5 and 3 minutes here in Italy, so I think we can start with this webinar, and in the meantime we will admit the new participants. Okay, now it looks like there is a waiting room. Okay. So that's great. Thank you everyone for being here today with us. This is the second webinar of this new webinar series of the Open and Embedded Insurance Observatory. We ran the first one in September. It was focused on embedded insurance solutions for SMEs. And today we have a webinar vertically focused on one of the hottest areas in insurance, that is health insurance. There is no doubt that almost all, or at least a big part of insurers in this moment are looking for opportunities to grow in health insurance. And there is no doubt that the majority of them are exploring opportunities in health insurance with embedded insurance and ecosystem models. So it makes a lot of sense for us to run this webinar with a panel of experts coming from the insurance, data analytics, and tech worlds. I will introduce all our speakers, and will introduce the agenda, and then I will pass the ball to the first speaker. So the agenda today is made of 3 initial keynote speech from Angelo Di Rocco, Group Business Development and Partnerships Manager from Generali, Italian insurance group that all of you know very well, I'm sure. Then Mark Wolf, Chief Health Analytics Strategist at SAS. Then I'm super pleased of having with us Sabine van der Linden, co-founder, CEO, and managing partner at Alchemy Crew. Then we will have Mia Kerr, an Italian startup with a pitch, and we will have Marzio Ghezzi for this. And after that, we will have a panel discussion moderated by Paolo Mecciani, which is an expert in health insurance. And the panelists, the participants of the panel discussion are Chuck Gomez, Head of North America Operations at Insurmo; Jason Wilby, co-founder and CEO and co-CEO of Open; Sébastien Gaudin, CEO and co-founder at Liquor Voice; and Angelo Di Rocco. So again, thank you everyone for being here, and I will let Angelo briefly introduce himself and start his keynote. Up to you, Angelo.
Hi, Yuri. Thank you very much for the line and the opportunity to speak here today. So as you said, I'm a group business development and partnership manager at Generali, and basically in this role, I do a lot of scouting for new solutions that could help the group improve the way we offer value to our customers. In particular, I'm focused on health. Let me try to share the few slides that I've put together. See, it should be this one.
Yeah, perfect.
Okay, yeah. Here, a few slides. So basically, I would like to show in a few minutes how Generali is leveraging on the embedded health opportunity that for us basically is a new way to distribute health services at this stage more than insurance through an integrated platform that is easy to use by our customers. Next slide. Let's start with a very simple concept that we may all be aware of. Uh, the insurance world is changing, so we no longer are the ones that come after the fact, that pay the claim once the issue has happened, but we want to be closer to the customers with services that prevent claims and provide value added to our customers. And obviously, this is now something possible due to the technology advancement that we are all witnessing. But when it comes to healthcare, what does it mean for us? Our vision basically is to be close and provide services to our clients throughout the healthcare journey. Watch out, I didn't say patient journey, because we want to start from the very beginning when the person are still healthy. So we want to provide education and awareness type of content. We want to provide prevention and wellness services. We want to guide the client understanding what are the options to improve the well-being, and then the initial access to care, the diagnosis, the treatment, the recovery, and the condition management. Obviously, the idea would be really to provide a complete set of services to be the center point of reference for the clients to approach anything that is related to health. But let's see in specific one asset that we have, one solution that we're offering in some markets. So let me just say a few words about Advanced Care. That is a Portuguese company that the group bought in 2020. That is providing an integrated platform that covers all the health value chain. Few numbers. We're talking about 1.3 million final customers, a lot of institutional clients, so insurer, banks, retailer, they want to provide this type of health services to their clients, to their employees and clients. Operation at the moment in Portugal, Angola, Mozambique, and we are gradually expanding at least to our European businesses. Central and Eastern Europe is the area that we're focusing at the moment. Very good NPS, a lot of claim process, high electronic billing, and also automation. Overall, we're talking about a company made of 300 FTEs. What is the vision of Advanced Care? Basically, it's the one of providing, being the missing link that puts together, first of all, the final customer, that are the insured persons and the beneficiaries, with on one end the insurer, basically the payer, and then on the other end the healthcare providers, the network. And we do this leveraging also on third-party services that can be provided by, in most cases, startups. Example, we have the optic recognition type of technology that are provided by those companies, telemedicine, symptom checker and triage, chatbot, and artificial intelligence. To see more specifically what are the modules included in this platform that then can be customized when we design with our customer, with our client, exactly the customer journey that they want to provide. Starts with account management, where you have all the information of the account, the medical record, obviously GDPR type of consent. Then start with, as we said, the prevention services, the health and wellness content, so the information to keep the customer engaged, the coaching through a well-being platform. We have also a store that can be used also to provide rewards according to, let's say, how well the final user has been using this platform. And then we go to the services, home services as home surveillance or also drug delivery, linked to the treatment part. So also in this case, you start with the symptom checker. There's also the triage in it. You have the telemedicine with the remote consultation, the telemonitoring that is very important, and then the claims, so the insurance part, when you interact with the payer. And as I said, it's very important in this scheme to be able to integrate third-party vendors, because you can select the best of breed of different services. I'm thinking of the symptom checker, the telemedicine, where you have really specialized players in the market that can be easily integrated. So just to recap a few words, the key concept. So the insurance paradigm has changed. So we're not talking about paying claims, but to be close to the client. For us in health, it means to provide services throughout the healthcare journey of the patient. So when the patient is healthy, so we want to keep him healthy. And when the patient has a disease, we want to support him throughout the care and the recovery process. And one key asset that we have been developing and enhancing in order to do that is the platform of advanced care that provide a seamless experience to the client, leveraging on third-party services. Very short. I hope it was to the point, and probably I'll pass the mic to the next speaker.
Thank you. Thanks a lot, Angelo. Paolo, sorry. Can I ask you, please, if you can admit the people in the waiting room? Sorry about that. Unfortunately, I'm blocked with the mouse.
I have to ask to Angelo, please.
Okay, that's great. Thanks. Okay, Angelo, thank you very much. Very, very interesting presentation. And now it's the turn of Mark Wolf, Chief Health Analytics Strategist at SAS. So, Mark, looking forward to...
Thank you very much. Yeah, let me share my screen and my presentation. Hopefully you can see that.
Yeah, we do.
Okay, brilliant. Okay, well, thank you. And it is genuinely a pleasure here to be on this presentation because I work for an analytics company. I'm responsible for analytic strategies in the health and life science world. And more importantly, I focus on the IoT. That is the Internet of Things, connectivity and sensors. And what I want to talk to you briefly about today is the role that these new forms of data can play in addressing any number of healthcare issues, but more importantly, what role they may play in the health insurance context. So very quickly, I think many of you are familiar with this. This is a global concept, this concept of what's called value-based care. And that simply value is some medical outcome against its cost. Well, that is not a good equation in a modern connected world full of data. So I've changed it. What if we had some calculus here? What if we integrate the ratio of outcome to cost? What if we integrate it before fertilization all the way to death, and we look at it over time? What we have here now is a function where health and the value associated with any kind of intervention can be thought of as a function moving across time and changing over time. And if we integrate that equation, what I believe the answer here is digital health. So let me talk a little bit about that. Now, how do we change that equation? Very quickly, the traditional approach to data has been collect data, store it, analyze it, report on it. This is the way things have worked for generations, if not forever. The idea is that those data are historical, and we're not really looking into the future, and we're not reactive. So there's a great deal of latency, and latency means it's not actionable. Today, what has changed? We have new forms of data, high frequency, high dimensionality streaming data. That gives us the opportunity to bypass the traditional model and look at those streaming data in stream. So as the data are moving, we are analyzing them, but we're still taking advantage of what we know historically, and we create a system whereby we now do not just look at history, look at data as it's moving, but we use that to learn. And ladies and gentlemen, that's exactly how the human brain works, right? We have memories, we've built models, we've built ideas, but we react to them in real time, we adjust and we learn. So today, the idea of streaming data from IoT fundamentally changes how we can approach analytics and decision making. Now we know that from a health perspective, connectivity is driving a tremendous amount of change, particularly in the areas of virtual health. And one of the greatest benefits of this, believe it or not, is not just outcomes, but convenience to the patient. Just like the transformation in the economic system in online banking and shopping, we are transforming the way consumers interact with the healthcare system. And that is being driven by this idea of digital health. The connectivity of devices, regulators across the world approving something called software as a medical device, or clinician-free diagnostics. These changes are affecting everybody. Patients, researchers, the medical device industry, the payers certainly, as well as people like software companies and mobile app developers. Software fundamentally is changing healthcare, and it's driving this concept of digital health. And the Internet of Medical Things and software, particularly as considered as a medical device, will really accelerate concepts such as digitalization for patients, providers, and payers. And digitalization is a very important word here. Digitization is when we move from analog to digital, from paper to, let's say, a spreadsheet. Digitalization is formally using technology to change business models, to create new value-producing capabilities, new workflows. And the way that's going to be done is by addressing real-time, high-resolution, high-frequency data that previously was unavailable for analysis, and creating learning and decision systems both for humans and machines. Let me give you a quick example. Tesla. As many of you know, Tesla sells auto insurance. So when you buy a Tesla, they ask you, would you like auto insurance with that? What does that mean? That means they take multiple parameters with multiple equations that adjust the rate every 30 days. So if this is possible, if this is the future of you buy a car, you maintain its health at a variable rate based on driving behavior, can we do that in healthcare? And yes, we can. What will happen is that data and analytics will drive this decision making, and that connectivity between people, machines, and environments will facilitate this. For example, traditionally, we're only measured when we're sick. Today, we can measure various clinical parameters when we're healthy, when we're going about our everyday lives. This creates the ability to create a normal and a baseline that you can compare when you're not well. So digitalization, these new workflows and new data will bring accurate risk assessment to the individual. But what's kind of interesting here is that when we can address the individual better, we can also improve the understanding of health risk at a population level. And it also means that we can bring in a tremendous amount of new information that traditionally we never considered. So with that, with a minute left, let me give you this amazing quote from Sherlock Holmes, perhaps the greatest analyst that never lived. Sherlock, in The Sign of the Four in 1890, said, "While the individual man is an insoluble puzzle, in the aggregate, he becomes a mathematical certainty." Well, what Sherlock is saying is, if we get enough data about the individual, we can make a lot of inferences and understand. From a population, we can understand the individual. Just like I told you before, personalized medicine will drive better population medicine, and that will drive better risk assessment. But I would change this equation. I would say, while the individual man is an insoluble puzzle, very difficult to predict if any one person will do, when you connect people, when you connect their data, then we can talk about mathematical certainty. Perhaps not certainty, but what we can talk about is better decision-making, automation, and the digitalization due to high frequency, high dimensionality data that allow us not only to make decisions in real time, but to use those to learn and improve our understanding of how that decision-making is made. And with that, and exactly on time, I will end my presentation. Thank you so very much.
Thank you, Mark. Really insightful. Thank you very much. And now, Sabine, it's your turn. Sabine van der Linden, co-founder, CEO, and managing partner at Alchemy Group.
Thank you so much, Yuri. So tell me if you can see my screen now.
Yes. Yes, we do.
Okay. So I thought I would take this embedded health discussion, looking at trends and some of the numbers. And recently, looked at a piece of research from Accenture around insurance growth forecast through 2025. Accenture believes, according to this research they released recently around insurance revenue landscape for 2025, that we are approximately around 6.1 trillion of GWP USD created in the past year, and this is going to grow to 7.5 trillion USD dollars by 2025, with an estimate 3.5% average CAGR. What I find interesting as part of this study is that most of that growth is going to come from the United States and China, according to that study. So what is the difference between 7.5 and 6.1 is 1.4 trillion USD growth in GWP generated by insurance. When you look at the numbers, what they actually find out is 1.2 trillion will be generated from existing demand for existing products. So think about asset ownership and asset utilization in the current existing insurance products. But then they also highlighted that as part of this 1.2 trillion, there will be 200 billion, which will be based on new risk, new product, and new services. Now, when you look behind the numbers, they also admitted that around 280 billion USD will be expected to be generated from innovation as part of the existing demand, but out of those 200 billion, which is only related to new demands, this is going to be 160 billion will come from new product innovation and 40 billion from the monetization of value-added services. So why is that important? When you start looking beyond the numbers, there is a massive opportunity for health and wellness and like product and services based on that research. And there is an estimated 120 billion USD, which will be generated from smart health, aging population, and life and wellness. And what do they mean by that? Is that we all know we are moving to a highly, an aging population. I believe that now we have more older people than young people aged below 5 years of age. And it's expected to triple just in next few years. And that will create a new opportunity. And actually, it's not just the elderly, right? We also look at millennial, which are digital savvy, millennial and Gen Z, which are digital savvy. But to echo what Mark is saying a moment ago, and what I think is interesting is that when you start looking at smart health, there is going to be a massive opportunity for medical devices and technology for fatal and non-fatal opportunities, meaning for cases when people are falling and cases where people are not falling. And you have a lot of startups now entering the market to look at heart replacement, improving mobility of individuals, and also driving that connectivity to drive digital care from different locations, but also from home. And then you have these additional layers, which is around life and wellness to enable people to have better habits, the running, the sleeping, and so on and so forth to improve the quality of life. Which takes me to, therefore, why embedded full stop. And so part of the studies we've seen is that embedded is massive. Based on startup numbers, there are approximately 40 billion invested in startups across the world around embedded finance, and that would include insurance and health as well. And we estimate around 9 billion additional investment by the end of the year. And as you can see, it's pretty much across the board and pretty equal between North America, Europe, and Asia. And based on Simon Torrance, the opportunity is absolutely massive and likely to reach 7.2 trillion, including embedded insurance and health as part of the proposition. But what does that mean is that now we are moving into a market where not only insurers have opportunities, but also others inside the value chain, retailers, telco, technology companies, car manufacturers have opportunity to grab some of that value in the future. What do we mean by embedded health? We mean anything which is related to health and services, included fitness, wellness, finance, and insurance as well. But that one key thing for me is that micro segmentation, really serving the needs of very small segments of the population, increasing their awareness through managing their stress, for example, using technology and sensors, enabling the delivery of healthcare models, enabling also the understanding of the difference between men and women and a variety of segments which are there, but also delivering that as a service. Why is that important? Well, part of the key problem we need to solve for to make this happen is going to be looking at data. Again, echoing Mark, what I've seen as well for a recent research I was reviewing today, we will need to sort out some aspect around data and being able to access data from users and patients better. But if we can solve all those different criteria around data privacy, preventing people to be scared as to how their data is being used by using GDPR, for example, rules, making sure that if we are dealing with somebody which is traveling like a digital nomad, we can actually enable them to meet doctors wherever they are, but doing that by providing standards and also making sure there is some aspect to unified data set, then we can actually look at the potential of different business model. So through the research we've done recently, we have identified 4 business models. We can actually review that research, which is around embedded health, the next frontier, sales and distribution platforms as a method we've seen emerging as a type of embedded health platforms for pure digital players. We will have like Alan in there or Prudential Pulse, health as a service enablers, which are looking at the infrastructure as they're actually delivering service to the market. And also you will find digital ecosystem orchestrator, which are inviting others within their framework to actually deliver value to the customer. So doing it faster by working with others across the value chain. And this requires capabilities. And whilst I do not want to echo Angelo, I don't want to echo the what I heard, but you can see everything is aligned to be able to do that. We'll need a really well integrated health ecosystem and wellness ecosystem, but you will need a platform, you will need the data, you will need to look at it from a preventative viewpoint, leverage the data, massage the data, understand the profiling to be able to serve those customer segments better. And now, indeed, we move to far more macro semantic world where services need to be aligned to the customer need. So that is what I had for you, Yuri. I know.
Thank you, Sabine. Thank you very much. So until now, I would say tremendous opportunity from embedding insurance, particularly leveraging on data generated mainly by connected devices. And what insurers need to do this? They need to build internally or get externally new capabilities to use and to build value from those data. Thanks a lot to our 3 keynote speakers. Now I will pass the microphone to Marzio Ghezzi of Mia Care for his speech. Marzio, to you.
Thank you, Yuri. Hello, everybody. Great to be here and great to attend to this panel of experts. I got the task to present Mia Care in 3 minutes. Let's rock and roll it and see if you can see my screen right now.
Yeah, we do.
All right. So we heard that insurance corporates are looking to build these new digital capabilities around digital health, and they want really to operate and innovate like big tech companies, right? So there are a lot of opportunity we heard, right? So try to integrate with the healthcare ecosystem in short time, and of course, very cost effectively, and be compliant also with a number of regulations, right? So from GDPR, HIPAA, US, as well as software as a medical device, I've heard, right? So this is a great, I would say, statement. And of course, I saw giving this compliance ecosystem, the company are looking as well, I saw to introduce these digital products faster, more flexible, and at the greatest scale. So when you approach this problem and you want to build this new digital asset, of course, you can always go greenfield, meaning building from scratch a new application, a new digital platform. But it's, I would say, quite a difficult effort, right? So it requires specialized resources, IT skills, right? So that today are not as common as we think. There's a lack of engineers with cloud native computing and data centric skill. It's an heavy lifting task, right? So you know when you started, but you never know where you end, right? So of course there is the pros of having a fully customized solution. On the other hand, you can buy a solution, right? So an application that already exists, but with that you can buy as well some of the I would say risk around those solutions, right? So sometimes it's a black box, it's rigid, you have a strong locking with your vendor, and many times it's really difficult to integrate with other products or with the rest of your ecosystem. Really, interoperability is what we have heard today makes really the difference between, I would say, standard application with something that really is capable to enable the value of the data for patients. Of course, we have our own solution, and we bring, I would say, a third pathway that is different between greenfield and buy, and actually it keeps the good of both, right? So, but also it limits, right, so the risk of those two traditional solution that you can choose, right? So we are, I would say, a platform engineering company. We bring the composable architecture solution into play, where essentially you can leverage number of components made by us or by, I would say, software vendors, technology providers, third-party company that they already are in the market and they bring the best in breed, right? So around the, I would say, components, architecture, or application, and are available in our marketplace. This gives you essentially the ability to do full customization. It's at zero lock-in, right? So it's fully transparent, not only in the way the code is given, right? So to the customer, but also in the way the data can be used inside our platform. So the main pillars of our solution are on the left side. Our console is an internal developer portal given to the software engineering teams, right? So to go and manage in a code environment all the software stack to build modern microservice-based software capabilities for your digital products. And on the right side, we have our marketplace. As I mentioned, it's a rich ecosystem of ready-to-use application that you can compose like a Lego. Right? So we bring essentially in this idea of composable architecture, right? So the idea of having a box of Lego with instruction, and you can really mount your end product, right? So in a very safe, compliant, right? So and reliable way, and address all the different layers of common digital asset, right? So connecting your existing system to your digital channels, build a new business logic, and deliver your end applications. So those are example of our components in the marketplace. Today we have more than 100 components. Some of those are gateways, meaning components that address the interoperability specific issue around healthcare, like Fire HL7, or the IoT connection to medical devices. Services, we have all what you need in order to create a digital journey for your patient. An application to, again, get a start kit ready to deploy around, I would say, what is more common in the digital health ecosystem today. So really, what you need is just to compose, create, I would say, the end solution or the end experience for your customer, and then running the platform. Very easy way.
Marcio. Oh, perfect. Thank you, Marcio.
Yes,
Sorry,
this is the last one. So thank you very much for your attention. So we are based in Italy. For any follow-up, right? So don't hesitate to contact me on my email that you see here displayed.
That's great. Thanks, Marzio. Thanks a lot, and it's good to see a number of young companies growing in this space. And now we have the panel discussion. So we'll pass the ball to the moderator, Paolo Mezzani, that will introduce his guests. Paolo.
Thank you, Yuri. We had the great opportunity to talk with Chuck Gomez, Head of North America Operation, Insumo, Jason Wilby, Co-founder and Co-CEO Open, Sébastien Godin, CEO and Co-founder The Care Voice, and Angelo Di Rocco, Group Business Development and Partnership Generali. It is a great opportunity because if you think about health insurance was, since a few years ago, one of the worst industry sector in terms of digitalization. It was just after mining. It was a disaster, let's say. Now we still have some hurdles. We have how to manage data, as Sabine clearly told us before. We have a customer experience to tune, and also we cannot forget about some reputation deficit we still have in the industry. And together with our 4 panelists, we will discuss about what can we do, what has been done so far, use cases and success stories. So let's start with Chuck. Chuck, please, what could you tell us about how would you evaluate embedded insurance technology partner, and how can be a partner a good fit for life and especially health insurance segments?
Chuck, you are on mute. Looks like you're on mute.
Thank you. Okay.
That's great. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Paolo, for the question. So I believe the question was about how do you evaluate embedded insurance technology partners to be a good fit, particularly for life and health. So I've come across this question, of course, as Insurmo is a global technology platform that supports embedded insurance with many clients around the world. And I think one of the key requirements is to understand your geographical requirements, where you, as a non-insurance brand, for example, where you produce your business, in what countries, what states, or where do you plan to expand geographically. And I think that experience of being able to support different products in different geos is important. The other thing, I think, again, I'm going to kind of focus this on non-insurance brands. When you're looking for a technology partner, I think, are you trying to get in the business for the first time? Are you trying to incorporate embedded insurance into your business? You may not have agency license. You may not have agency services. You might want to look for a turnkey operation that can provide you not only the platform, but also those services. The only thing you have to watch out for, it does constrain you to what that platform offers, what those products that they offer. And then the other option is to license an open platform where you'd have more control over which products that you offer, over the insurance value chain and capabilities. You might want to get involved in underwriting. So you want to look out for those open platforms. That's the way you want to set your strategy. And then I think in particular to life and what I would call healthcare in the US, accident and health transactions. I think if you're going to find a technology partner, you obviously want to have some life and A&H experience because, life, today have lots of legacy core systems, so they're very challenged in trying to go digital, more so than P&C. So a platform partner that could help complement a legacy core system with the life insurer that you may do business with. I think that is essential. And then I think you also want to focus on the life or around products that could scale, because that's where you're going to get a bigger bang for your buck. So life insurance, from an embedded insurance standpoint, it's usually handed off to a carrier. But if you want to take more control of that embedded insurance purchase process, products like accidental death or even just general accident insurance, those are a lot simpler to underwrite, and those are more apt to scale. And of course, you know, you want a partner that has experience with APIs and digital connectivity. Thank you.
Thank you, Chuck. Very, very clear. I mean, either the, let's say, strategic perspective, but also the being concrete with existing, let's say, status quo of insurance company. And so thank you, Chuck. Jason, what can you say briefly about your company? I mean, what you're doing? What are the main problems that you want to solve, and which are the main opportunities you see in this sector? And then again, just with the connection with what we discussed just before with Chuck, which are the key success factor in your mind for embedded insurance?
Sure, thanks. I mean, just briefly on Open, we started in 2016. Building a digital insurance business, and why? I think we saw lots of problems to solve, both on the pricing and experience side. Both of those problems are very, I guess in our view, best solved with data. And this is back in 2016. We're like, well, where do we go for great data? Who has the best data that can help us solve these problems? And that's where we realized, telcos, health insurers, banks, car manufacturers. Fast forward to today, Open, we're largely an Australian business at the moment. Our whole model is really partner-driven, multi-product line, car, home, travel, landlords insurance, where we partner with great brands, use their data to unlock value for their customers. And two of our largest partners are actually health insurers. So we're not a health insurer, but we partner with Bupa, we partner with Medibank, which is the largest health insurer in Australia. And both of those, picking up on Angelo's presentation earlier, they're both pursuing strategies where they want to add, further value and value add to their customers. And so we're there to bring, fully digitized products that they can embed into their end-to-end digital experience. I think on your second point, when thinking about, I guess, what does it take to be successful in embedded insurance? Again, I think I probably agree with a lot of the themes that Chuck touched on. Again, when 2016, our core thesis is insurance is an information business, and if you want to win in an information, you've got to have brilliant technology. You do. But I think what we've learned over the years now is that it's much more than some APIs and technology. The technology is required, but it's not sufficient. And I think I'm sure these sort of parallels would apply across health as well. That embedded partners are not insurance or financial services experts, and so there's actually quite a lot of work to partner with the brand. And go on a journey with them, to sort of coach in, things like compliance and regulatory risk, and we provide financial services licenses. So there's a lot of sort of infrastructure and coaching and partnering that actually has to take place. And I think for any embedded business and any embedded partnership, overcoming some of those challenges and some of those capability gaps actually. It's probably where more of the value is than just the simple connectivity or just the technology.
Great, Jason. Thanks a lot for your contribution. And now we move to Sebastien. Sebastien, now we can enter, let's say, a little bit more in detail. I mean, embedded health is a sort of new technology category, and which are the use cases that you see more relevant, let's say, for this industry, for the health industry?
Yeah, thanks for asking the question. And it was good to hear from Sabine an intro, our background on embedded health. So indeed, I'm at CareVoice. We are a global embedded health leader, and we are enabling insurers to engage with their customers through a configurable user journey that leverage an open health digital ecosystem. And through that experience, I think we've been learning by working now with over 20 insurers and starting first from China, but now we're bringing those embedded health solutions delivered by insurers to their customers for both health and life in 15 countries from Asia, Middle East, and Latam. So we've seen I think that the core is about changing how to lead the value proposition to customer, starting really creating a health value to customers, where a wide range of health services that are relevant to each customer group can be put together in an integrated customer experience. And that should be delivered to the customer where he is. And this is where you have those different use cases. So it could be within the insurer offering itself. And we can take the example, for instance, of MetLife. MetLife launched first in Asia a 360 Health app, and really changing their position to the market and helping their customers, though being a life insurer, more on critical and serious illnesses. So the insurer really first offering a set of relevant health services for their customers. Then you can start to see also health service providers, whatever traditional service providers or more tech background service provider that start to combine their offering with an insurance offering. And these have been starting to be seen with the boom of the telemedicine, right? And Ping An, for instance, in China launched Ping An Good Doctor, which is a pure telemedicine play, but then where the insurance offering is going together. You have the similar offering with Apollo in India, and I think will come soon in Europe with some of these telemedicine players. But then you have also the non-health, non-insurance players. I think it was mentioned by Sabine, who have some appetite to step in, and because health now is a common need from anyone, and it's ranked pretty high. So players are willing to help their customers with health value, and here it's open to many different players, and you can just look at in the sport area, in gym chain offering. Then naturally it can be combined with a life insurance, for instance. So I think this is how things are evolving, and we see a number of players behind that.
Great, Sebastian, thanks a lot. For sure, we can state with no doubt that the demand of health is still here and will be here in the future. So there is a lot to do. And as I said before to the panelists prior to start, if you'd like to also complete the question of one of your colleagues, please feel free to add some words to other panelists. Now, just to close the first round, Angelo before told us a very interesting, let's say, piece of health history of what they're doing. Very interesting. And Angelo, I would like to involve you telling us, as you are still very active on this activity, what are the key enabling factors that can propel the growth of embedded health models?
Thank you very much for the question. I would divide my answer in two parts, say +1. On the first side, there is the technological aspect. So the ability to have platform, as we've been commenting so far, that can be seamless, it can be tailored to need of the client, that can be integrated with different services. That's for sure a must. But on top of that, I would add a medical factor. Because when we talk about services that are maybe diagnostic services or digital therapeutics, it's very important that those solutions are medically approved, they are regulated, and basically they need to go through the same process that the drugs need to go through when they are released on the market. This is important to, let's say, to stimulate adoption. Also, I think of medical doctors that are anyhow very key influential persons in the health decision of final customers. So I think those two. Plus the third one is more on our side. It will be key to focus the effort, the technological effort, the development effort on the right needs and the right segments of clients to be prioritized, because this can influence a lot the adoption of the solutions.
Thank you, Angelo. I fully agree on the need to work on health outcome. I mean, and to ideally the head of an insurance should see a dashboard with all the health of his insured people, and to see how this health is changing. Let's say, not only financial data. And let's go back to Chuck. so that we start our second round. Chuck, what in your opinion are some of the key life and health data impacts on embedded insurance?
Okay, so key life and health. Again, I'll talk to health as accident and health impacts to embedded insurance. So again, and I'll address this as targeted around non-insurance brands who are interested in taking on new initiatives around embedded insurance or expanding those capabilities. So I think if data is very essential to the embedded insurance process, as it is for insurance. What makes it very particular to non-insurance brands is those candidates who have customers who are loyal, customers who appreciate and trust their brands. They're going to be close to those customers. They're going to be collecting a lot of important data about those customers. And I think for those non-insurance brands that have the collection of that data, I think becomes a very good candidate to take on some insurance, embedded insurance initiatives within their company and open up new revenue channels, right? So relative.
Chuck, are you talking about trust or just the capabilities of, let's say, customer experience and data collection?
Well, I think in order for like a Tesla, in order for them to capture that data from customers, trust and loyalty become important, because then they're more apt to do business with you over long term. So you're collecting lots more data about those customers that can then be used in the underwriting process. So if you're looking to take more control of the insurance process to generate new revenue channels, and you have some insurance capabilities, then that data becomes very valuable for embedded insurance initiatives. And when I look at this, when I think about this from a life or accident and health perspective, I think we're seeing, and I don't have any research to point, but there's lots of research out there, that the Gen Zs and the millennials are more open to allow the capture of their personal and health data than other segments, which allows non-insurance brands to leverage this data more. They have more data to incorporate into their underwriting process or set up some really profitable deals with insurers or MGAs, perhaps. Of course, regulatory and privacy considerations must be taken into consideration at the local level. And I would say, then the question would be, regarding life and accident health data, what non-insurance brands would be great candidates, for non-embedded insurance initiatives? I think fitness organizations, they collect a lot of health data. Pharmacies collect a lot of data on a global basis around their customers. Associations like retirement groups. I heard earlier about the medical devices, those medical organizations. A lot of these companies at a scale collect massive amounts of data. And as Mark indicated in his presentation, a lot of that is becoming digitalized, where we're getting more connected and we can leverage that data in real time. So some products I think that would be good candidates for non-embedded insurance with the aforementioned type of companies. I think funeral expense, accident insurance, accident death insurance. I think those type of products would work well. And I think what Sabine talked about in her presentation. The last point I want to make is that the change in demographics, especially in North America and Western Europe, if I recall correctly. We're looking at, in a few years, 1 in 4 of our population being 65 and older. So not only do we have more connected data or more data in general to be leveraged in embedded insurance processes, but it's a massive opportunity to generate additional revenue and close the gaps and help the population get better insurance.
Great, thanks a lot, Chuck. just please, all of you, I mean, then we have Jason, Sebastian, and Angelo, please feel free to add your own, let's say, preferred industry that can collect and act on health data. And now, Jason, you mentioned before big players you're dealing with, and what kind of relationship do you have with the incumbents? And more specific, your organization, what is offering them, just in terms of services? And you mentioned some clients and such as Bupa, and for them, which is your proposition? What have you developed so far?
Yeah, sure. I mean, the I'll just touch on Bupa, I guess, the most relevant partner. So we're an MGA structure. We're a product issuer. We manufacture car, home, travel, landlords. Bupa, I think as most people know, is one of the world's leading health insurers. And I think they've made, like many, they've made lots of investment digitizing their core business. Online claims, online services, online experiences. In Australia, Bupa also offered had a program where they would offer car, home, travel insurance alongside their health products. But they wanted a new insurer. They wanted a new partner that could match their investments in terms of digital customer experience on those value add products. But importantly, a partner that could also embed those products and completely integrate them with the health offering. And that's basically why they chose Open, and that's what we did, and that's what we do. For Bupa, we are a nimble organization. We're not sitting on some of the legacy technology constraints that incumbents have. We delivered car, home, travel, and landlords 4 products for Bupa in 10 weeks, all of them embedded, not just the quoting experience, but the ability for their customers to claim, to manage their policies, do everything online from the My Bupa portal and the My Bupa app. That's I think, from our experience, most people would say to us, if they went to an incumbent, they'd be workshopping for 10 weeks. And this is like, live in market with tens of thousands of customers, quickly coming across these new products. And I think the other thing that why would a Bupa sort of choose partner with us is obviously there's what we deliver for them today, but they are increasingly looking to solve in valuable ways, or wanting to execute against opportunities to create more value for members. So it starts with a really tightly integrated general insurance proposition that integrates into health. But I think when they partner with us, it's the opportunities to leverage data, leverage technology further, to continue to build more value for their members and for their customers. And some of the ways we've touched on today, ultimately, for any of these brands, it's all about customer experience and creating value for their customers.
Great, thank you. Thanks a lot, Jason. Now we have a few minutes left. I parked many questions to Sebastian altogether, but it's a challenge. And Sebastian, now that we discussed a little bit about this topic, and which in your mind are the key capabilities required to succeed in embedded health offering? At the same time, if you can let us know a little bit how is the market position so far? I mean, what is the situation, and which are the experience we can develop from what has been done so far? And also, Chuck told us about the geographies, which is your view from this point of view? Many questions.
Sure. I think complementary to what was just said, I think that the servicing part is critical in the customer experience, especially if you in health and life, you have really a way to bring much more value from day one to your customers as soon as you help them with their health. I think Sabine shown some capabilities in her presentation, and I would pick 2 that usually are a bit lagging behind for people who want to go in this space. One is the ability to have a platform that integrates with insurance system and benefit management, because ultimately your insurance offering can be maximized if they are combined with a set of health services. But that you should not have the same. You're not going to have the same for different insurance plans for different population. So it means that you're able to orchestrate your health and wellness ecosystem in line with what's happening in the core system of the insurance. And that could be super tricky because most insurance system, can't really talk easily outside. So you need to find a way to have platform that can easily, plug and play with insurers and read and work on the benefit side. The other component is more about customer profiling and engagement engine, because you can bring those valuable health services in a fancy app, but ultimately, if you don't have a backbone to better understand the profile of the customers and drive an engagement model, so that ultimately the customer is going to come back, is going to experience those services, to see how it impacts his health, you will again not really bring this value to the end customer. So those are two, I think, capabilities that are important. And you were asking where we see the stages of the market. I think it's still, what is interesting, we've seen a few players trying to build, right? And I think one of the pitch earlier on was referring to this, and indeed, very, very few players dare to do it. It's very challenging, it could cost a lot, and a very uncertain outcome. We've seen some players partnering with this category of pure health players or digital native players. For instance, Alan in France or in Europe partnered with more traditional mutual insurance, where they decided to totally give away a group of customers, and from the risk and down to the customer experience, Alan is taking this group. We've seen Daiichi Life recently partnering or investing in ULife as a way to operate together, in a new way, a life insurance offering. But I would say this is quite marginal, and then it's really more how through partnership those players can really embed the health offering. So you have this concept of players who are around the health as a service, and it's where CareVoice play, where the players bring a platform or even an operating system like us that enable to connect various technologies, services, insurance systems, potentially hospital system, and exchange the necessary data into an operational flow that ultimately you get a data-driven and customer-centric customer journey. And this is where we've seen, especially in emerging markets, and you were asking for the geographies, we've seen emerging markets a bit more dynamic on that front because they are mobile first. All the players from consumer starting, but also the insurers, have to be much more dynamic in adopting those latest offering. And there are also higher health needs and protection gaps. So this is where some player like even Prudential, the massive US player, started to roll out its total wellness approach in Brazil and Argentina, and now across LATAM, before going to its primary market in US. Or with Cigna and generally with who also we worked, they started in Asia with more population-specific health insurance, going after new channels where women and startups, for instance, are, and new distribution channels. But then they started after to bring this embedded health offering to their broader portfolio, for instance, with the employee benefits. So I think the emerging markets are definitely ahead from what we've seen. Mature markets are behind, but picking up. It was good to hear the advanced care experience from Generali in Portugal. And we recently came across and likely going to work with Ageas, a big Belgium insurer. And actually, they have a very strong, also in Portugal, health ecosystem expertise, where they started more on the ground from the network, but then they built a very interesting connected offering, and now they want to make it even more valuable and bring this model in other countries. So I think it's definitely emerging market have been like ahead, but we see now mature ones are starting to see, okay, there's a need also for sure to address better the population's health needs and create a different value as an insurer.
Thank you, Sebastian. Thanks a lot for your in-depth view. And now we close our panel with Angelo. And again, for you, Angelo, I would like to ask you, let's say, two things at the same time. We discussed before about the distribution partners, and I would like to know, in your view, who are the gatekeeper for the distribution of embedded health, and at the same time to go through the the risk of leveraging data by collected from wearable, as we see that the majority of use cases are going towards wellness, and wearable are in the middle of these use cases.
Thank you, Paolo. So let's start on the first one. Who's gonna win the distribution race? I mean, insurance, so I should say insurance, but that would be a lie because I'm afraid that in these cases, many other big techs will have the upper hands because we live in a attention society, attention economy where there is the race for many players to gather the attention of people. And you see on your iPhone, on your phone, I have an iPhone. So how many apps do you have? I guess hundreds. I have hundreds. How many do you use? Just a few. But among those, I have my Apple Health app that I use. I have my fitness tracker of Apple that I use also through my Apple Watch. And I think they have a very enormous advantage on that side. They've been investing in this field. Think of Fitness Plus, the new service that they've launched. Basically, it's you get fitness classes digitally per a monthly fee. And I guess that it's a matter of time that they can also add the telemedicine service, maybe embedded on a bundle that they can create, so a recurring revenue package that they can sell. And on their end, they have for sure the, as I said, the attention, the fact that you use those apps. On the second hand, they have obviously the technological capability that basically are probably unmatched. And on third, I think it's not to be underestimated. They have created a trust in the way they use the personal data of people. They have been, let's say, very important advocate for data privacy. We've seen in the press in the past, and so basically people entrust them to use personal data. And on top of that, you see also Amazon that has bought recently One Medical, and I think it will be a matter of time when they will embed One Medical telemedicine service in their Amazon Prime, at least in the US. But when we talk about data, I'm coming to the second part of your question. I think it's we need to take it with a pinch of attention because for sure, leveraging the data from wearable can be helpful for both insurers and for clients. The insurers will get better understanding of the client, will be able to tailor better their offerings. And the clients can be able to understand where they stand and how they can improve on their path to be healthier. However, from data from wearables, there are studies that are telling us that it will be possible to detect very early some pathology. I've read that from the gait, so the way you move, it is possible early on to understand Parkinson, if people have Parkinson, or from the change in the tone of voice, it is possible to understand if a person is going to be depressed. Basically, those are things that a data savvy tech provider can be able to understand before the patient per se. And so if you give this data to an insurer, we can get to the situation where the insurer knows things that the insured doesn't know, and so can either price higher or can also deny insurance to the customer. Therefore, let's say going against the mutuality principle that basically is the fundamental of this business. For this reason, I strongly believe that the regulators at certain point should step in and clearly state what and how data can be used in underwriting, basically, health products.
Thank you, Angelo. For sure, the asymmetry of the sector is decreasing, and this is good news for all of us. Thank you, Yuri, again, and thank you all, of course, Sebastian, Chuck, Angelo, and Jason. Thanks a lot for your great contribution. And please, Yuri.
Yes, Paolo, thank you very much for the moderation. Thanks a lot to all the panelists. We are now closing this webinar. Thank you very much also to all the participants. And just a very quick last message to remind you that the 23rd of November, we will run our third webinar. The topic of that will be transforming personal lines insurance with embedded insurance experiences. So I look forward to see you again the 23rd of November. And thanks a lot again for this, and see you soon.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.